Daniel Theobald here. We're in Mental Health Awareness Month, as you know. We've had a lot of great interviews. Today, we have the opportunity to talk to Valerie Peng, a founding engineer in an agtech company. Valerie, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Daniel. And thanks for the opportunity to talk about, I think, super important topic, especially in the fast-moving world of startups.
Yeah, boy, amen to that. I think that one of the messages that has come through loud and clear so far is that everybody has mental health. Everybody struggles with these things. And realizing that you're not alone, I think, is probably one of the most valuable things that perhaps is coming out of this. But why don't you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and, maybe some of your journey on this topic.
Yeah, for sure. I was the first employee at the startup that I work at called Fido. And, I think one thing that I've learned, it was really my first real job, I would say, first full-time job out of grad school. So sometimes I half joke if I'd known better, I might have been more scared, but instead I just jumped headlong into it and I've really enjoyed the journey. It's definitely had tough moments and really gratifying moments as well. I'd say one thing I've learned about myself is that, people say work-life balance. For me, it's more like the harmony between the two, between work and life, because the two impact each other so much. So when things are going well in work, and I feel like at least at Fido, I get to have work towards something that's meaningful and work with an amazing team. And I just learned so much and enjoyed that. That brings harmony to my personal life where I can work out and hopefully feel healthy and feel fulfilled. And sometimes if one isn't going as well, the other sort of can be balanced with it. So I think for me, thinking of it more harmoniously together as opposed to one versus the other is
Almost like you can pull energy from one side or the other as necessary and it sort of just flows.
right.
Yeah, there are a couple things that you said that I wanted to double tap on a little bit. Interesting. You talked about had you known, and, this is an interesting dynamic, particularly with founders, I think, because we've got this thing as humans called unearned confidence, right? We believe that we will be successful at things that we have no idea about.
Right.
But that's okay. I mean, that's what gets us to take chances, take risks, go out and do things that we probably would never do otherwise, right? We would have never left the cave and gone out exploring if we didn't think we could handle it. And then, a lot of us got eaten by saber-toothed tigers, but, on the net we win. So I thought that was really interesting. But you're, now that would you do it again?
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes. I think it's scary. And, they say, because statistically it is true that most startups fail, but I think being able to work on something that I don't regret trying my best at and learning a lot about and working through all those challenges on, I think when times are tough or, when whether funding's going well or not, actually, I think even when we think it's all about that next funding round, sometimes you get there. And I remember after a Series A feeling like all I could see was a to-do list after that. So it's not like the stress will magically go away once that milestone is hit or anything, but just feeling good about the people you're working with and what you're trying to do makes me feel like I'm definitely going to continue in the startup world and trying new things.
Yeah, so it sounds like purpose is important to you. Sounds like people are important to you.
Yeah.
And I think those are two themes that have come out a lot in this. I don't know if our viewers have read the book Man's Search for Meaning, but in this book, Viktor Frankl basically makes the case that, all of our sort of emotional energy and well-being ultimately comes from purpose. And it doesn't even matter what the purpose is,
Right.
but there must be purpose. So that really resonates with me. What advice do you think you'd give to other people as they go through hard things and it stretches them? And, sometimes our self-worth gets tied to positive outcomes, and positive outcomes, quite frankly, are rare. So how do we deal with that?
Yeah, and I think for me, being open and talking about it, we've talked, Daniel, in the past too, and you've helped me just be open about how I'm feeling, and not just outside of the company. I think outside the company and potentially inside the company, if you have mentors or folks you're close to talk to, because what's most likely is that everybody is feeling that in some way, and just being able to talk through how I'm feeling is really helpful, and talk to people who have gone through that up and down. And I think also you realize that there's a community around you that's supporting you, and that, yeah, I think tying the self-worth to valuation or whatever is something that maybe is natural for folks who want to do startups, but ultimately we have so many other things like purpose and people, like you're saying, that are still really important for us, and just got to pick up and move on to the next fight, whether that's, yeah, inside the company, in life. So yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
the,
so
the
one of the challenges that has been brought up multiple times is people's fear of talking to managers or coworkers or co-founders when they're struggling, right? Because we don't want people to think we're weak. We don't want people to think that we can't handle it. We all have imposter syndrome, right? We oftentimes feel like we're faking it. We don't deserve to be here. What are your thoughts on how do we get over that? How do we understand that we need to have those conversations, and we need to have them sooner than when we're in the middle of a huge crisis?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm still also trying to learn and figure out. I would say for me, in my experience, I mean, I work the best when, like I said, I feel in balance. And so before, I'm personally having a crisis or having a terrible day, when I'm just having an okay day, that I think is a great time to actually think about, what do I need?
Build the
And
support network at that
right,
point.
right before it's,
Yeah.
we're hitting these big lows, and because
Oh, I
that
really
helps
like that.
me work. Yeah.
I like that a lot, Valerie. I think that's great advice. Sort of like you got to get your support network set up before you need it.
Right.
So create those relationships with people, build those relationships of trust. And that's oftentimes going to be a two-way thing, right? You're going to build a relationship where you support each other, and maybe one person needs the support one day or one week, and maybe the other person needs the support the other day.
Right.
So yeah, that feels really good to me. Well, I really appreciate you being willing to talk about this stuff.
Yeah,
I think, the fact that you have acknowledged that, being a founding engineer, or, somebody early on in a startup is incredibly challenging, and there are high highs and low lows, but that you would do it all again, I think is very meaningful.
for sure. Yeah. And thank you for the opportunity. I think it's great. Just like physical health, I think we have to build the habit of talking about emotional health and mental health. So yeah, appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.